When Magic the Gathering was younger, and I was too, we would visit our friends' houses and spend countless hours playing the game in our bedrooms. Many epic battles were won and lost on the carpeted floor of my bedroom. But sometimes we were able to play at the kitchen table if it wasn't occupied. One of the things we noticed when playing at the kitchen table is that it was a lot more difficult to play the game. Not because of distractions and other things going on in the house, which did play a part, but mainly because it was difficult to manipulate the cards on the playing field. We had trouble picking them up, moving them around, and you do a lot of that when you're playing Magic. That was because the carpet allowed us to reach around the card and really pick it up easily, whereas the table had a hard surface, card laid flat. So we came up with this solution. Today I wanted to show you my first playmat. Here it is. This is the very first playmat I ever had. This is a beach towel. We decided that it was great to play at a table with chairs sitting up, when we could, but it was really difficult to pick the cards up, and to solve that, we wanted a soft surface to play on. So we grabbed a towel, a big towel, which was a beach towel. And that's the one I used. It's a pretty big towel, vintage mid-90s beach towel. I was never really into playmats much. I didn't see any that, just captured my attention. I always would rather spend my money on cards than playmats. Even sleeves, I wasn't a huge fan. I bought one pack of sleeves in 1996. And, the corners were kind of pokey, and they shuffled different. It was awkward. So I didn't use them much. I played unsleeved primarily, and at tournaments and stuff, I didn't take the towel with me. That was just for at home. But at tournaments, we played, on folding tables and things like that. When you're playing on a table, some people are good at picking up the cards without damaging them, and some people aren't. I guess it's kind of a skill. You get to know that some people have cards with a bunch of nicked edges, and some people don't so much, even if you're playing unsleeved. You get the hang of it. So eventually, enough time went by that I found another playmat that I liked. It took 22 years before I found a playmat that just grabbed my attention enough that I had to have it. And that is this playmat. This is, I guess I would say, my favorite playmat. Unless you count the beach towel, this is my first playmat. I didn't have one before this. Occasionally, someone would loan me one because they didn't want to see me playing my cards on a table, but I didn't mind. That's the way I'd always done it. But this playmat, I love it. Isn't that a beautiful playmat? That's gorgeous. It speaks to me with all the old artwork. We have a Shivan Dragon up here in the corner. That was one of the most valuable cards in the game. It cost like $20. Even for a revised one, yeah. We have a Raised Dead. That represents your graveyard. I thought that was so cool. It's just appropriate to have your graveyard position on the mat represented by a Raised Dead. And then we have a Library of Ling. It's where you draw your cards from. And Birds of Paradise down here at the bottom. Definitely an iconic card. Over here we have Cathedral of Sarah from Legends. White legends gain band with other legends. Not a great card, but the artwork's pretty cool. Clergy of the Holy Nimbus, right here. And Air Elemental, right here. I just love that the mat has so much of the old artwork. It reminds me of what it was like to play back then. And that's a good feeling to have. On to the iconic cards, of course. We have the Black Lotus over here, kind of hidden in the edge there. And we have a Mox Ruby right there. Mox Emerald, Mox Jet, Mox Pearl, and over here the Mox Sapphire. I also just absolutely loved that the mat had the old white mana symbol. Has the other symbols too. They're not quite exactly the old ones, but they're recognizable. They're mana symbols. But this one looks distinctively like the old white symbol and not like the new one. So I just loved it, and I had to have it. I've been asked a few times whether I, actually attended this event or played in it, and I did not. I wish I would have. That would have been awesome. But I didn't. I saw the mat posted online when the event happened, probably as soon as the event was over, and I immediately contacted the people who organized the event, and they sent me to the artist, and I got the mat from him, and I'm glad to have it. Since then, I've purchased one other playmat. Here we go. Vintage Magic. I was invited by Vintage Magic to help vend at the GP Vegas 2018 event. And after spending some time with everyone there, it was a really fun time hanging out with everyone at GP Vegas. Rudy, Open Boosters, Edwin, me, Daniel from Vintage Magic, and several of our other friends who don't necessarily have YouTube channels or anything, but they're pretty cool guys. We just all hung out. We visited with ABU Games came by, and Rachel Agnes came by. The Professor came by. Chris came by. There's a big land collector. He's in some of our videos. Just tons of people, and it was a lot of fun meeting everyone from around the world. Everyone that came by to the event. I got to meet Andreas, who founded the Old School Magic for Life group on Facebook. He made me one of the admins of the group, so it was great to meet him in person. So yeah, it was a great time, and I wanted to commemorate that experience by having this playmat. So this is my second playmat that I've ever purchased, and that's mainly it. I just wanted to show you these playmats and talk about how we used to play with beach towels and what playmats used to be like. Now, Spellground mats came out, I think, in '94, so they were actually out even before I started playing, but we didn't have any of those anywhere around where I was at. They're out in California, I think, so that they probably didn't reach very far. They probably had them in California and New York. And I was in Kansas, pretty far from either of those locations. Speaking of Moxes and iconic cards, this one right here is my first Mox. It's also my first Power 9 card. I picked up this in 1997, spring break. I worked for it a little bit, just did some chores and things, but mostly it was a gift. And I was pretty appreciative of that gift. I was impressed that someone would know what to get me, because there's so many Magic cards, and it's a lot for someone who doesn't play to understand. And how would they know that I didn't already have one, But they were given some advice by a local vendor at a flea market. And her name was Jennifer. And she sold magic cards. She had boxes and boxes, and I'd stand there and sort through them while my family shopped at the flea market. And you could look and look for hours trying to find what you needed. It wasn't like these days where you have computerized inventory systems. You had to go sort through stuff if you wanted to find anything. It took quite a while. So on her advice, this was the gift that was chosen for me. And I really appreciate that. It was great advice. I love it. And it'll always be special to me. It was my first, it was a gift, and when I got back home to Kansas, no one else had one. I was the only person with a Mox, so that was pretty cool. Jennifer's still around. She has a game store locally. It's not at the flea market anymore. It's actually a brick and mortar store. It's called Geek Nation, and I'm really glad she's still around. That's pretty awesome. I went to visit her a while back and showed her that I still had it, and we took some pictures with it, stuff like that. Just fun things, memories. I actually played this unsleeved a lot. Let me see if I can get it to focus here. There we go. So yeah, it was played before I got it, but this played a lot of games unsleeved. Just wanted to share everything with you guys since I had it all out here. If you see that this one's a different color, if you were really paying attention, this is what they call dark beta. This isn't a real card. Someone just sent me that in my mail day video a while back. I opened it up, and I don't own a real Mox Sapphire, so I just threw that in here for the picture comparison. But that's what dark beta looks like if you were paying attention. Bonus points if you caught that. So my next video will be about some more Moxes, some special Moxes. So stay tuned for that, and I'll see you then.